Endurance Junkie Podcast, Episode 2. Hey Junkie, thank you for joining me for the second episode of this Endurance Junkie podcast, the show where I will be interviewing some of the fastest, smartest, and most inspiring people active in the endurance world today. Now, I am simply thrilled to start off the series with today's guest, and it's none other than the current Ironman World Champion, straight from Belgium, Frederik Van Lierde. Frederik, tell us a bit about yourself. What's your sporting background and how did you get involved in triathlon?
Thanks so much for inviting me. I started in sport as a swimmer. When I was 8 years old, I learned to swim, and then afterwards I did some competition swimming. To be honest, the best I could do was 50 meter and 100 meters, so it wasn't endurance, but it was more like sprinting. And in the year 96, my compatriot Luc Van Lierde, he won Hawaii, and there was a lot of media attention, of course, and I was thinking like, maybe I should try that sport as well, because looks really nice. And I was quite a good runner as well in school events and so on, so I thought, why not combine those two and then add the bike. So and from the beginning, when I started into triathlon, I was quite good, because with the swim you're in the front from the beginning, and then afterwards I learned to bike and to run quite decent. So I had a lot of good vibes in the beginning, and to be honest, the swimming was a little bit not boring, but a little bit some people stopped, and I chose to get another direction in my sport, and that's why I started triathlon.
Okay, so we have one thing in common, because I started after Luc Van Liерde's win as well. But unfortunately, I never got to your level of fitness. So you started as a short course athlete, I presume, racing locally, and then as a grown up internationally on the ITU circuit. How did that go for you?
Well, in the beginning, as a junior, from 97 till 2001, I was still studying. So I'm a teacher in sport, and I was still studying at that period. So it was a bit a combination of learning and then doing some triathlon. But then the first year I was working. I gave lesson. I had a boost. I really performed really well. 2002 was the first time I was Belgian champion with the elites. I was second at the European Championship under 23. So that's when I started to get really at my best level. So unfortunately, in the end of that year, I had quite a serious crash in the World Cup in Nice, and that set me back a little bit. But 2003 I could start as a professional. So 2003, 2004, 5, and 6, I was competing on the World Cup circuit and European events. So I never got to the really top of the short course, but sometimes I could perform really well.
So were you living purely as a professional at that time, or did you combine that with work?
I combined it with my work in 2002, but since 2003 I'm a full-time professional.
You're a full-time professional, okay. And you were able to make a living out of it from the start?
Yeah, because 2003 and 2004 I got a contract with the government, with Blozo it's called in Belgium, and since the end of 2004 I'm with the Belgian Army.
So and then you made the switch to long course in 2007, 2008, right? Was Ironman something that you had wanted to do for a while, or was that what was the reason for switching to long course?
Well, it was something I was looking forward to, but I always told myself, don't make the switch too early, too young. So I was patient. But in the end of 2006, I had to make a choice from defense to to continue in the same direction on short course or switch to long course. And in fact, it was really a good decision to go to long course. 2007, I didn't do any Ironman, but I competed in the European Championships ITU from long distance, and I won that one in my own country. So that was really a really good performance that put me on another level. So in 2008, I did my first Ironman, New Zealand, where I got second behind Cameron Brown. So from the beginning, I knew long distance would be my thing, and I had a lot better performances or a lot better results in long distance.
Yeah. Like you mentioned it before, that you were employed by the Belgian military as a pro athlete. Tell us a bit how that works. I mean, I suppose you don't have to report for duty every day.
No, that's correct. But when we started, like everyone who starts in the army and who wants a contract as a professional sportsman, you have to do 2 months of elevation, like every other soldier. So that's one thing. And then once you get through that, you can start at the base closest to your home, and then every week you have to be there at least one time. And in fact, the main thing why defense or Belgian defense is doing this is just to provide positive media attention. So we get in the media, on television, in the newspapers and so on. And if we mention a couple of times we're in the army and so on, that helps them, of course, in terms of media attention. And the second part is also to promote sport internal in the army. So in fact, I think it's a really good thing they organize in the Belgian army.
There's quite a few elites working this way, aren't there?
Yeah, sure. Marino van Hoenacker is another one. Yuri van Steeland, Brian Rickeman, who is a long distance swimmer. Simon de Kuyper is now the most recent one. So there's quite a few.
Yeah. Okay. Seems to work well then.
Yeah.
But for the rest of you basically have total freedom about creating your season plan, I guess.
Yeah, sure. And the coach we work with, everything we do is in fact our choice. And then in the end of the year, you have to come in front of a commission, and then they look at your results. You have to provide them with some explanation, and then they tell you if you can continue for the next year or not.
Did you have to do that after your win in Kona last year?
That was quite easy, yeah. They were convinced.
Now, the last couple of years, you seem to have been working towards like the Abu-Dhabi race, early season, and then Ironman France mid-season, and then Kona. Why those three? And why the switch to Ironman Germany this year?
Well, first, those three, it's easy to say that if you want to peak 3 times in a year, you have to spread all over the year. And so Abu Dhabi is in the month of March, then end of June or beginning of July, and then October. That's perfect. I managed to be 3 times in a year really good. So and Nice Ironman France, I won it 3 times in a row. So I thought it was time to switch for another race. I was also looking for a time sub 8 hour. I didn't make it, 25 seconds too short, but in the end, I'm really happy I chose another race and another. It's also another motivation during the preparation. It's if you go back every year to the same race, maybe after my career, I would say I should have chosen another one to try one day. So I'm really happy I can switch, and after my career, I want to look back at at being the winner of several different Ironman and on different courses, different weather situations, everything. So I want to be remembered as somebody who could win almost everywhere.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kona for a change. Take us through those first couple of races you had there in 2009, 2010, and 2011. Yeah. What were your expectations going in, and what did you learn from those races?
My first time was 2008. I didn't finish after 10 miles on the run course. I was empty. I was done. So that was the first time. 2009. I remember I came in 54th or something. So it was really a struggle on the marathon. I think I did 3 hours 35 or something. So I was really slow, but I was really happy I could make it to the finish line. And then 2010, in fact, was the first time I really got the feeling that I could do this thing well. I finished 14th, and to be honest, it wasn't a survival anymore. So it was more like a competition, and I was really happy with the feeling afterwards. And then 2011 was in fact a little bit over the limit, because I remember I was in 9th position going into energy lap, but I didn't make it to come out. So I was really empty in energy lap, and that was another good lesson, just to really, how do I say, like really make your race like you have to do it. And I didn't do it on the day in 2011. So that's 3 years of really good lessons.
So it was learning how to deal with the heat and with the stress and with the race conditions.
Sure, everything together. It's a really special race. So I think last year was my 6th time I competed there. So it was really a lesson for me every year.
Yeah. So it was after 2010 that you really thought, hey, I can win this thing one day?
Yeah, sure. Not really winning it, but at least make it to the top 5 or top 3 or something. So yeah.
And then you had your 3rd place in 2012, and then you really must have thought, hey, I can win this thing.
That's true. Because 2012 I was really it was really one of my best races ever. And then you feel like, and you believe it, of course. You believe you can win it, but then when you get 3rd, it's a confirmation. You really believe it.
And then you did so in 2013, quite convincingly, I may say. Can you quickly take us through that day again?
Oh, sure. It's still in my memory. It's the best day of my life in my sport life. So it's the swim was really good for me. I came out of the water in 4th position. I felt really good all the way. Then on the bike, like every year in the beginning, it's really, really hard. So I remember I almost dropped in the beginning. The first 20 kilometers, it's crazy. And every year there's more and more people in that front group. So I don't expect it to be different this year. And then the way out to Hawaii, the first 60 kilometer, I was, after that first 20, I was quite easy in the leading group. I remember Sebastian Kienle joined us around 65 kilometer. Around kilometer 70, he attacked, and I was one of the guys who reacted together with Luc Mackenzie. And then, everything was there were no groups anymore. There was like 2 people there, 3 people there. So it was really a hard time to get back from Hawaii to Kona. I remember I came in 4th position again after the bike, with Sebastian a little minute in front of me, and then Andrew Starikovic and Luc Mackenzie like 3 minutes in front of me, 3.5. And to be honest, when I started running, you feel your legs. I was quite convinced, or quite sure I could make a good shot at winning that day. So I stayed cool. I tried to do everything I have to do. I tried to be patient, and it worked out. Just wait. And then in the end, I felt that the second half of the marathon, I was really one of the strongest, or the strongest guy in the front. And I could pick up Sebastian Kienle, and then in the energy lap, Luc Mackenzie. And then, the way back from energy lap to the finish line is just the best 12 kilometers of my life. It's such a good feeling to know you're gonna win. You feel you still have it, so it's not that I felt like I'm fading away, or I don't have the energy anymore. No, I felt really good. So it was really a great experience, and especially those last few 100 meters at the finish line. It's hard to describe, but I think everybody can imagine. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, no doubt. So you knew coming out of Energy Lab that you had it in the bag?
Yeah, Yeah, you never know,
more or less. Yeah.
of course, but you never know in sport, of course. But I think I was really convinced I could do it. Yeah.
And how did that win change your life as a pro athlete? Did you have like sponsors coming in and giving you endorsements all kinds?
Well, there was a lot of things to do in Belgium, of course, because for the Belgian people it was quite special. There was only one guy who won it before me in Belgium, and that was Luc Van Lierde. We have the same name. There was quite a lot of attention, and I think it's good for me, but also for the sport, for defense, for my sponsors. So it was. Yeah, I'm really happy with everything that happened. Of course, the winter wasn't as I had planned to be. There was a lot more things to do, but still I managed to put all my training in and to stay focused. So it's just it was not really a problem, but it was a positive thing during the winter.
Yeah. How was 2014 been for you? I mean, you said you've raced in Germany. You were pretty happy with that time, despite not making the sub 8. How was the rest of the year been?
Well, to be honest, I felt really good the whole year. If I look back from now to where I am, I had a couple of fourth places, only one win, a couple of second places. So for me, I'm really happy with what I did, and I know the most important race is coming in October. And from the beginning, Luc and I said we want to be in our best shape in October, and I think I'm really convinced that I'm growing now to really my best form.
Yeah. So now you're in those final weeks building up to Kona. You've just raced a half Ironman distance race in Belgium. What else is on your agenda before that big race day on October 11th?
Well, there's an altitude training camp coming up now, so that's really important. In fact, I follow the same way as I did last year. So 3 weeks altitude training camp, then a couple of days at home, and then I go 2 weeks to Phoenix, where I love to train because it's quiet. There's not the hype around Kona. Everybody leaves me alone. It's quite hot, hotter than it is in Hawaii. And then I only go to Kona the last week before the race. So and the traveling is split up in that way. So if I go from Belgium to Phoenix, it's one trip. But then the last one, Phoenix, Kona, it's a direct flight, 6 hours. It's nothing really bad. So it's the plan I did the last 2 years, and I think I don't have to change this because it works for me.
Yeah, that's clear. It works. Well, good luck. Good luck on race day. Just have one more question about Kona and Ironman in general. There's been a lot of talk recently about the recent prize purse changes at the events in 2015. Yeah. So quite some races will no longer have a pro field, and money will be redistributed to the big championship races, like Ironman Melbourne and Texas and Germany. What's your view on these changes? Do you think this is good for all pro athletes, or is this only beneficial to the handful of true elites like yourself? Because they will start paying 10 deep, but there will be a lot less races where pro athletes will be able to win prize money.
Well, as you say, I have to be honest. For me, it's good, of course, but I think it's not good for all the pros. But it's a choice that Ironman made. Everybody knows Ironman is it's business. It's really good for our sport. We have a great showcase they provide us, but in the end, it's all business. And I think they are aware of the fact that for now there's too many races. If you look back a couple of years ago, there were a lot less races. So now I think if you look back at this year and last year, some races you see the pro field is not deep, or there's not really good pros. So I think that's the reason why they made that decision. And I think for me it's good. And I think if you're honest, I think for the sport and for in general the races, if you have a look at the races and you want to see good races, I think it will be better to see good races and where people are really performing and where's the battle between the good ones. I think it's the best solution.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think we'll have, now we have all the pros lining up in Kona, but I think next year we'll see a lot more high impact racing in Melbourne, Texas, and Germany, to name a few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for that. We only have a couple of minutes left here before wrapping up the show, so we just want to do some quick fire round of questions.
Yeah. Okay.
So, are you ready for those?
Sure. Go ahead.
What's your favorite workout? I mean, the one session that you look forward to all week.
Oh, that's like a 200 or a 240 kilometer bike ride in the mountains. I love it.
No, you can't do those all the time in Belgium, unfortunately.
No. But in Foromeur altitude training camp, I can do that.
Yeah. What has been your greatest accomplishment and your biggest disappointment as an athlete? I mean, your greatest accomplishment will no doubt be Kona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the disappointment, if it's really a disappointment, we talked about the fact that I did World Cup racing. So it's obvious that I wanted to reach the Olympics, but I didn't make it. So that's maybe after my career something you can say, yeah, he didn't make it to the Olympics. But I think Kona is a good alternative.
Yes, it sure is. And going back, racing short course like Macca tried, that's not an option for you?
Not really, For me, I want to focus on what I'm doing right now, and Luc is my coach, but also he's my example, and I think it's best for me to just focus on what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I guess they're just two different sports now. It's too specialized.
Yeah, that's true, because if you look back 15 years ago, it was a lot different than it is right now.
Yeah. All right. Training and racing as a pro must no doubt interfere with, what we see as a normal life. What sacrifices do you have to make to be a pro athlete?
Oh, sacrifices. I never saw it like that, because it's not really a sacrifice. I think my family has to make sacrifices. Everything in our family life is around my sport. So I can give them a lot back. But of course, some decisions are made because I'm doing this. So yeah, but I think nobody complains, neither my wife or my two boys. So we're really happy with the life we're living right now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Feel free to give some love to your sponsors, and then we can wrap this up.
Okay. My sponsors, I have to thank them all. I think everybody can see on my website who my sponsors are. Defense has been really important in my career so far, but in the end, all my sponsors from Cervelo to Mavic to Oil Service, IRS, everyone who I'm working with is really it's a pleasure to work with all those people. So I'm thanking them all.
All right, and just quickly tell us how people can get in touch with you. I mean, there's a website, Facebook account, Twitter.
Sure. So there's a contact on my website, and I try to be active on Facebook and Twitter as well. So I think the people who want to reach out to me, they can.
All right. Thank you very much. I will put those links up in the show notes for people to get in touch. Well, thank you very much, Frederik. Good luck in Kona, and hopefully we'll see you there on the #1 spot again.
I'll do my very best. Okay.
Thanks. Ciao. Bye. Well, that's it for today, folks. I really hope you enjoyed the show with Frederik Van Lierde. And if you did, please leave us an honest review in iTunes, and I will make sure to give you a little shout out in an upcoming show. Now, the next one to go live, episode 3, will be on Wednesday, September 3rd, and that will be with CrossFit Endurance founder Brian McKenzie. It's one you absolutely can't miss because there's a lot of good stuff in there. So until then, go swim, go bike, or go run, and go get your fix, junkie.